let me ask you something. Have you ever received help that you said you needed, but managing that help seemed to feel like even more work? Maybe someone offered to take something off your plate, but then you end up having to remind them 3, 4 times, explain every single step to them, and then eventually just end up finishing it yourself. Or maybe you created a routine to make your life easier, because I'm one of those people. I like a routine. But that routine becomes another set of expectations you feel guilty for not meeting. Or maybe you have people around you, but you still do not feel supported. If support is supposed to make life lighter, why does it feel like just another struggle? Let's talk about it. The Life According to Cree, the podcast. I am your host, Cree Cole, and you are now tuned into the Sunday LYF Check. This is a space where we slow down, check in on ourselves, and have honest conversations about what it takes to live, love, learn, and flourish in real life. Last month, our challenges invited us to show up as we are and stop feeling obligated to explain every decision, every boundary, and every part of our growth. We talked about how trusting our own voices, releasing the need to manage other people's perceptions, and allowing ourselves to be seen without constantly explaining who we are becoming. That work matters because as we move into the month of August, you can't create a supportive life while constantly adjusting yourself to make others feel comfortable. I'm going to repeat that. You can't create a supportive life while constantly adjusting yourself to other people's comfort. You can't build support systems around the woman you're becoming if those systems are designed to serve an older version of you. Some of the routines and relationships and expectations in your life may have worked before. That doesn't automatically mean they're still going to work now. August is our opportunity to examine what we have built around ourselves and decide whether it supports the life we're trying to live now. A lot of women are surrounded by people, but still feel like they're carrying everything alone. I historically have felt like one of those people. And if I'm completely honest, I still feel that way a lot of times now. Women like me are the ones everyone calls when something needs to be handled. They remember the appointments, solve the problems, make the plans, keep the peace, check on everybody, and make sure nothing falls apart. From the outside, it may look like they have support. They have family, they have friends, they have a partner, co-workers, or a community. But having people around you is not the same as having a support system. A support system should not require you to manage every person in it. It should not require you to beg people to follow through. It should not leave you feeling guilty for needing help. It should not make you feel as though you owe someone access to your time, energy, or peace because they did one thing for you. Real support should reduce some of the pressure. Now, that doesn't mean that it'll always be perfect. People may need instructions. Plans need to be adjusted. Communication is always going to be key and necessary. But if the help consistently creates more work than the original responsibility, we need to be honest on whether or not it's actually support. The same is true of our routines. We download planners, create schedules, all the things, right? Make lists, set reminders, and commit to new habits because we want to feel more organized. But sometimes we create so much structure that the structure becomes another source of frustration. Now, we're not always dealing with everything life requires. We're also not criticizing ourselves because we did not complete every item on the schedule that was on the list. Structure is not supposed to support your life. Your life should not have to perform for your structure. That is why we're talking about gentle structure this month. Gentle structure gives you the direction without punishing you when life happens. It allows you to plan while leaving room for energy, responsibilities, emotions, and changing the circumstances. For instance, woo, baby, to end the month of June. At the end of the month of June, I was on episode 25 of season 3 of Life According to the podcast. I was rolling. Y'all been there? I've been rolling. Weekly guests, episodes on time, promos posted, my website still getting updated, all the things, right? Everything. I was rolling. Y'all were there, y'all was watching. Y'all were there. Boom. Life happens. And that's why we're starting off August with a month. Starting off the month of August with episode 26. What happened to July, Cree? Guess what? 2026 is only going to have 11 months this year. If you know anything about my 2026 has been jumping. Now, when I tell you I had the schedule set, when I decided that I was returning to potting, baby, say topic schedule. Schedule, episode reformat, air dates, guest call outs, guest scheduling, all the things, all the way from April, because I think I came back in April, all the way from April, all the way to the end of the year. And lo and behold, life happens the last Thursday in June, and baby, I just ain't had it in me. I just ain't had it in me. I did not want to throw on no lip gloss, put on no shirt. I know I do this at home. We know this is an AI background, but let me tell you something. Getting in front of people and talking, that's a job, baby. That's a job. People get paid good money for it. People get good money for it. I'm trying to get some of that good money. But when I tell you, I was about middle of June, I was seriously contemplating whether or not I was going to be able to finish out the schedule that I had already mapped out. Like when I sat down to actually look at it, once I decompressed some, got myself back balanced, because I tell you, my world got knocked off balance at the end of June. And it still ain't perfect, but he is. But I sat down and I looked at that schedule. I said, oh no, baby. I know that you sat up there, you done and you done add up, but baby, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. Because the thing about it is, I don't hustle. I'm not a hustler. Life According to Cree is not a hustle for me. Life According to Cree is a business. So if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. One thing I tell people, whether or not they want to own their own business, or even with the fact that I have my career, my full-time career is a remote job. You got to work it like a regular 9 to 5. And I started to beat myself up because when I walked away from potting back in 2023 and then briefly came back in 2024, like I just could not motivate myself enough to get back into it. Another thing with scheduling, my alarm, I start work every morning at 9 a.m. I go from my bed to this desk, right? Just turn this way instead of this way. I set a schedule where I will get up every morning at 7:30 a.m., walk on my walking pad. I have a walking pad over here. Y'all can't see it, but there's a walking pad over here. Get up and walk for an hour and 15 minutes because I could walk a mile in an hour and 15 minutes. Let me tell you something. I did it a couple of evenings, but I have not walked now one time. Next time has an alarm gone off at 6:30 and I have gotten up and walked on that walking pad. Another thing that every time I go to bend down to pick something up off the floor, or I'm sitting down and I have to get up and I go, ooh, I beat myself up every single time. Because just 40 pounds, just giving 40 pounds back to the Lord will make that so much easier. And I said all this to say this. And I reformatted the entire rest of Life Corner Cree Podcast 2026 after having the revelation that structure does not require an iron whip. And I realized that I had set a schedule for myself that was unrealistic for where I am right now. It didn't give much wiggle room for anything else. And then I was like, trying to give myself Friday, Thursday to Sunday off and all that. With 3 episodes a week of podcasting, girl, I had to girl myself. But we here. New schedules, new formats, new all the things. So let's get back into it. But I said all that to say, yes, gentle structure does give you the direction without pushing or punishing you when life happens. It allows you to plan while leaving room for your energy, your responsibilities, your emotions, and changing circumstances. When it comes to support, the first thing that support should do is reduce the weight. Support should reduce the weight. The first thing we need to understand is that real support should reduce the weight of what you're carrying. It may not remove the entire responsibility, but it should make some part of the responsibility easier. For example, if you ask someone to help you with an event and you still have to plan their part, remind them of every deadline, correct their work, and prepare a backup plan just in case they don't get it done, and you don't trust them to follow through, that's not reliable support. If someone says, let me know if you need anything, I don't know. Me and my sister talked about that. Let me know if you need anything. Because, babe, what you mean? What you mean? Let me know if you... More often than not, someone says, let me know if you need anything, but disappears every time you make a specific request. Or the very thing that you need the most, they can't supply to you. They can't give you. And they know they can't. That's not healthy support. Support should not come with confusion, manipulation, or a hidden emotional bill. Sometimes the difficult part and the difficult truth is that we may have mistaken availability for reliability. Just because that person ain't got nothing to do, they ain't got no job, they have a real lenient schedule, they don't have no kids, things like that, that doesn't mean, and because they can be there, doesn't mean that they're reliable. A person may be available to listen, but not capable of helping you solve the problem. Someone may love you deeply, but still lack the consistency or emotional maturity required to support you in a particular area. That doesn't make them a bad person. It simply means you have to stop assigning them a role they have not shown you that they could fill. And a lot of times, the confusion comes in because we confuse availability. We confuse availability with dependability. It is not the same thing. People can show up for you and have absolutely nothing to offer to the situation. And I've been that person where I've said, I just need somebody to be there. But depending on the situation, sometimes you need the person to be more than just there. Sometimes you need that. Support becomes a struggle when we keep expecting people to provide something they've never demonstrated the ability or willingness to provide. Part of building a support system is learning who can help with what. One person may be a great listener. Another may give advice that's practical. Someone else may be dependable when you need help with completing a task. Every person does not have oh my bad, because I'm not re-recording this. Every person does not have to meet every need, but you do have to be honest about what each person can realistically offer. And I think a lot of times when we give people the title of friend, we expect for those people to show up in capacities and make themselves available, sometimes in ways that they are not capable of showing up. We say, if you my friend, you would. If you was my friend, you would. If she was my friend, she would have. But we don't take into account that not everybody fits every role all the time, because everyone that you're dealing with is human. We have to be honest with ourselves and understand that each person can't realistically offer everything. Now, when you find someone, when you make a connection with someone who can actually be that type of person, that is absolutely awesome. But then you have that moment where you have to say to yourself, am I able to reciprocate what I'm receiving? In my experiences, others have not been able to reciprocate what they receive or their expectation. It happens. Secondly, the support must fit you. Not what she say you need, not what he say you need, not even what I say you need. The support needs to fit you. Sometimes people give us the kind of support they would want instead of the type of support that we need. You may need someone to listen, but they immediately start telling you what to do. You may need some practical help, but they offer encouraging words and assume that should be enough. That is one of my pet peeves too. That is one of my pet peeves too. Let me tell you something. When I started out, when I had my life event back in June, and I was trying to sort my way through my feelings and get myself together. I can tell you something. I told my best guy friend, I was telling him all the stuff or whatever I was telling him. I was like, don't come start talking to me about no God stuff. I don't want to hear that. I know. I started quoting scriptures and all. I know. Scriptures and catchphrases. I know that he say, that girl food. I know he say that. He says that girl food at least 2 to 3 times a month. But that's what I did. That's what I did. I was like, I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that because I know. I know that he can do it. I know that you just got to pray. I know that he can make a way out of nowhere. I know all the things. I know all the things. I want to hear that. I want to hear that. I need for you to guide me on how to get this done, and the money to do it all with. Because that's what I need right now. Anything else you're talking about, sir, I ain't trying to hear you. You may need some time alone. But they keep checking on you because they believe that constant contact is the best way to show love. That's why communication matters. Clear communication. People can't always guess what support looks like for you. You may need to say, I do not need advice right now. I just need a safe space to talk. I appreciate you checking on me, but I need a little bit of quiet time. Let me tell you something. One thing I love about the people who love me is that they love me enough to where I said, I just need quiet. They give me the quiet. Because if I say I need quiet and you keep calling me and texting me and I'm already overstimulated, baby, you think you're doing something good and you are tipping me further over the edge. You are tipping me further over the edge of what I'm going through. I promise you. You can say, I don't need you to take over. I just need specific help with one task. I didn't ask you about all that. I didn't ask you for no more suggestions, baby. I just need a little bit of help with this one thing. You might get phrased and be like, I need you to follow through without waiting on me to remind you. Like, I had no idea I was gonna have to come back to you. I had no idea that you was waiting on me to ask you again. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Those types of statements aren't demanding. They're clear. And that's where a lot of confusion starts to come in too. Like, many of us struggle to communicate our needs because we have not been taught that strong women are allowed to be direct and to be clear. We have been taught that strong women just got to figure it out, not to delegate. We may believe that if someone truly cares, they should automatically know what we need. I listen, I believe that I have a certain level of discernment. My cousin will tell you 9.5 times out of 10, when one of us says something about something, might not see it right then, but we ain't hardly ever wrong. It's a slip that we ever wrong. Hardly ever. But I can't read minds, baby. I can't read minds. And your friends can't read minds. The people that you work with can't read your minds. Your mates can't read your mind. But healthy support requires honest conversation. At the same time, communication does not mean repeating, explaining a need over and over and over again to someone who's already decided not to honor it. Like, you keep, what's the saying? What's the saying, y'all? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome is like the definition of insanity. Going and asking for help from a person who consistently does not show up in the way that you told them you need to show up. It's crazy. Crazy work. Crazy work. Crazy work. I fell victim to it about 2 weeks ago. Crazy work. Crazy work. Even if that person loves you to death, there's no way that you can expect for them to do something they've never done. Especially if you've already told them what it is that you need. There's a difference between giving someone clarity and begging someone to care. If you have clearly communicated what you need and the person continues to ignore it, the answer may not be another conversation. The answer may be adjusting the role that person plays in your support system. Your system should work with your life. Say that again. Your system should work with your life. Not your fantasy schedule, not the version of your week where nothing unexpected happens, not the version of you who wakes up every morning with unlimited energy, completes every task as planned. Your systems need to support the woman you actually are. Say that to y'all again. Your systems need to support the woman that you actually are and the responsibilities you actually have. If you're balancing work, family, healing, business, relationships, personal responsibilities, your routine needs breathing room. A schedule that only works when everything goes perfectly is not a support system. A support routine has flexibility in it. Instead of creating a 10-step morning routine that makes you feel defeated before the day begins, choose 2 or 3 things that help feel grounded. 2 or 3. Instead of filling every hour of the week, leave open space for rest, delays, and unexpected responsibilities. Instead of measuring consistency by whether you completed something perfectly every day, measure it by whether you continue to returning to what matters. Gentle structure says, here is the direction I want to move in, and here are the supports that can help me get there. Rigid structure says, if I don't follow this plan perfectly, I failed. We are moving away from rigid structure, and we're creating systems that make room for our own humanity. Come on, y'all. It's week 1. And we are going to create a support system audit. Support system audit. Now, y'all ready? I'm gonna give y'all a minute. Cause y'all gonna need, you either gonna need your journal, some paper, a notebook, an ink pen, a pencil, whatever you like, right? You need that. You need that. Or if you're a LYFAccordingtoCree.com subscriber, you can download the fillable workbook because these challenges are listed there. But if you don't, I'm gonna give y'all a minute. Get y'all stuff. I'm rambling. To give y'all enough time. I guess you could pause it, right? Give you enough time to go get your tablet, your notebook, your journal, whatever the case may be. You got it? Okay. Now, we're going to divide that piece of paper, that page, into 3 sections. 3 sections. Now, you're only gonna do this for this week. If you got a notebook, you can actually divide that page into 3 sections. It'll give you 3 little lines, right? Now, the first section, you're gonna label who supports me. And in this section, write down the people, routines, resources, boundaries, and habits that genuinely make your life easier. Now, this can include a dependable friend, therapy, meal planning, calendar reminders, a morning walk, quiet time at the grocery store, delivery, boundaries that protect your energy, right? This is actually what supports me. So these aren't things that you want to do. These aren't things that you want to implement. These are support systems that you already have in place, whether perfect or imperfect. List those. I want you to label the second section. The second section, what drains me? What drains me? And write down the relationships, routines, responsibilities, expectations that consistently require more energy than they give back. That can be people, that can be things. Second section, listed what drains me, and you're listing the things that require more energy that you get back than you get back in return. And be honest. Be honest. Don't know, ain't nobody saying this with you. This ain't live. I ain't pulling people on talking about some, hey, that's never gonna happen. This is on you. Your own self accountability. You don't have to make any immediate decisions. Right now, you're simply identifying the pattern. Okay? And in that third section, I want you to label that what needs to change. That's what needs to change. Look at what drains you and ask whether it needs to be removed, adjusted, delegated, simplified, or supported differently. Again, go to the second section that lists what drains me. And then look at what you feel needs to be removed, adjusted, simplified, or supported differently. Maybe you don't need to abandon the routine. You may simply need to make it more flexible. If you get up at 5 a.m. every single morning to go run and it's starting to feel like a task more than a pleasure, maybe you need to not necessarily end a relationship, you may need to stop depending on that person for something they just can't provide. Old girl can still be your friend. You just know not to call her for da 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 da. Simple. Everybody ain't got to be included in every month. Everything doesn't have to be included. Everybody doesn't have to be included in every single thing. Right? Maybe you don't need to complete every responsibility alone. You may need to make one clear, specific request for help. As an Aquarius. Can't nobody get it done like I can get it done. I brought in that as an air sign. Because I believe in all things. All things. None above the other. So one of my own personal battles is delegating responsibilities to others. The purpose of this exercise is not to criticize your life. It is to become aware of what your current life is asking you to carry. You can't create a better support system until you identify where support is missing. Now, I want you to take a moment just to check in with yourself. You don't got to complete that right now, okay? It's for the week. It's for the week. Okay? But I want you to take a moment to check in with yourself. You can write these questions down, answer them in your journal, or sit quietly and just think through them. As I'm giving them to you. First, where in my life do I feel supported without having to over-explain, beg, or manage everything? Where do you feel supported? Where you don't have to ask too much, you don't have to explain it over and over again, and you don't have to manage it yourself. Second, what person, routine, or responsibility currently creates more work than it supports? I know for myself, and I can't say that sometimes, or there have not been times when people have felt the same way about me, but I know that in this season that I'm in, that I've been thrown into, there are people that create more work. It's a job. I feel exhausted after interacting with them. But I'm working on it. We can work on this together. Third, have I clearly communicated what I need, or have I been hoping people will figure it out? That's my wife. She should know. That's my husband. He should know. Me and her been friends for 41 years. I talk to him every day. Like, how could he not know? Ask yourself, have I clearly communicated what I need, or have I been hoping people will just figure it out? Number 4, what is one thing I can simplify, delegate, adjust, or release this week? Just completely let go. It's on the list. I ain't doing it no way. And I beat myself up every week because I ain't getting it done. What is one thing I can simplify, delegate, adjust, or release this week? Not by the end of the month, not by the end of the year. This week. And finally, what would support look like and feel like if it were allowed to be gentle? What would support look like and feel like if it were allowed to be gentle? And you do not rush your answers. This is for the week, y'all. This is for the week. It's Sunday, not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You got time. Okay. Your answers may reveal that you need more support. They may reveal that you already have support but have difficulty accepting it. They may also reveal that some of what you call support is actually another responsibility that you have been managing. Whatever comes up, whatever comes up, meet yourself with honesty instead of judgment. Support is not supposed to feel like another performance. Support is not supposed to feel like another performance. You should not have to prove that you are overwhelmed enough to deserve help. You should not have to collapse before you're allowed to receive rest. You should not have to carry everything alone simply because people are accustomed to seeing you handle it. You are allowed support. You are allowed to ask for support. You are allowed to be specific and direct about what support looks like for you. You are allowed to recognize when something or someone is not capable of supporting you in a way that you need. This month isn't about creating a perfect system. It's about becoming more intentional about what surrounds you, what holds you up, and what you continue allowing to hinder you, and determining what helps move you forward without constantly running yourself into the ground. Repeat after me. I am worthy of support that makes room for my real life. I release the belief that I must carry everything alone. I give myself permission to build routines, relationships, and systems that protect my peace and make my life feel lighter. Task for this week. Your tasks for this week is to complete your support system audit and choose one area where you can make your life feel lighter. If you would like to participate in the August 365 and Life Checks challenges, head on over to LifeAccordingToCree.com. You can follow the challenges throughout the month, and platform subscribers can access the private interactive workbooks to go deeper with weekly exercises, reflections, and prompts, right? Do not try to rebuild your entire life in 1 week. Start with one adjustment, one honest conversation, one simplified routine, and one request for help. Small changes can create meaningful support. As always, I am your host, Cree Cole. Thank you for joining me tonight for the Sunday LYF Check. And remember, loving yourself first isn't about being selfish. It's about loving yourself in a way that allows you to love others better. Thank you for tuning in, y'all. And I will see y'all Tuesday for Cree Said What. Bye.